First contact. The Arcturus fleet materialized at the edge of Sol system, their crystalline ships refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Admiral Venna Korak stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn, her iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to azure as she studied the sensor readings of the third planet. Another primitive world, her second in command. Commander Rix declared with characteristic certainty, Class 3 civilization at best. Their artificial satellites are practically museum pieces. Venna's head frills twitched, a gesture her crew knew meant she wasn't convinced. Curious, she murmured, mandibles clicking softly. Very curious indeed. Admiral. Rix moved closer to examine her display. Their development pattern makes no sense, Venna explained, manipulating the holographic data with practiced ease. Look at these energy signatures. They're using fusion power alongside internal combustion engines, quantum communications next to radio waves. Some of their orbital platforms show signs of primitive ion propulsion while others. She paused, frills flaring in surprise. Others appear to be using some form of gravity manipulation we've never encountered before. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Every spacefaring race the Arcturus Empire had encountered followed the same technological progression. It was simple logic. You couldn't develop quantum mechanics without first mastering classical physics, couldn't achieve fusion without understanding atomic theory. Yet these humans seemed to be developing multiple technological paths simultaneously. Sensor officer, Venna called out. Show me their global communication patterns. The display shifted, revealing a web of intersecting signals so dense it looked like a glowing sphere encompassing the planet. What caught Venna's attention wasn't the quantity but the variety. Thousands of different protocols and encryption methods, some laughably simple, others so complex their computers struggled to analyze them. They're competing, she realized, scales rippling with excitement. Different nations, different approaches, all racing each other to the same goals. She'd never seen anything like it. Most species achieve unity before reaching for the stars. These humans were doing it backwards. Admiral, her tactical officer interrupted. We're detecting some unusual movements in their orbital defenses. The display shifted again, showing what appeared to be defunct satellites suddenly powering up, changing position with surprising agility. What they'd dismissed as space debris was transforming before their eyes. It's a mask, Venna breathed. They've been hiding their true capabilities behind a veil of apparent primitiveness. Her admiration was tinged with concern. In all her centuries of first contact missions, she'd never encountered a species that practiced strategic deception on this scale. Should we proceed with standard contact protocols? Rix asked, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer. Venna shook her head. No. Signal the fleet to maintain distance. I want every sensor focused on that planet. We need to understand what we're dealing with before we make any moves. For 3 days they watched. What they discovered challenged everything the Empire thought it knew about technological advancement. The humans weren't just developing multiple technologies simultaneously. They were combining them in ways that defied conventional scientific wisdom. Their orbital defense grid was a perfect example. Quantum sensors paired with analog backup systems, AI-driven targeting computers alongside mechanical fail-safes, each component redundant yet innovative. On the 4th day, they received their first direct communication from Earth. It wasn't the usual panicked response to discovering alien ships in orbit. Instead, it was a simple text message, transmitted simultaneously in every known communication protocol the Empire used, plus several they didn't. We've been expecting you. Perhaps we should talk. Venna's scales shifted to deep blue, a sign of profound respect among her people. These humans hadn't just been preparing for first contact. They'd been preparing for first contact with the Arcturus Empire specifically. The implications were staggering. Send word to the Imperial Council, she ordered. Tell them we've encountered something unprecedented. This isn't going to be a standard incorporation mission. She paused, watching Earth rotate slowly in the main display. And Rix. Update our threat assessment. These humans, they're not primitive at all. They're just playing a very, very different game than we are. As her orders were relayed, Venna couldn't shake the feeling that the Empire's first contact with Earth would change not just human civilization, but the very foundations of galactic society. She just wasn't sure yet whether that change would come through cooperation or conflict. What she did know was this: humanity had already surprised them, once by hiding in plain sight. She couldn't help but wonder what other surprises they had waiting. The warning shot. The United Earth Defense Council chamber hummed with tension. Representatives from every major nation sat around a circular table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display of the Arcturus fleet hovering above them. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's newly appointed First Contact Coordinator, stood at the center of the room. "The Arcturians have spent 3 days studying us," she announced, her voice steady, despite the weight of the moment. "Now it's time to show them what they've missed." General Marcus Thompson of the Global Space Command leaned forward. "Are we certain about this course of action? The Titan array has never been tested at full capacity." "That's precisely why it's perfect," Sarah replied. "They think they understand our technological capabilities. They don't realize we've been sandboxing our most advanced projects. The Titan array was humanity's best-kept secret, a network of 9 quantum singularity generators disguised as deep space research stations. Individually, each station appeared to be conducting innocent gravitational studies. Together, they could manipulate space-time itself. "Begin the demonstration," Sarah ordered. Across the solar system, the 9 stations powered up simultaneously. Their true purpose became apparent as quantum fields synchronized, creating a geometric pattern of intersecting forces that encompassed the entire Arcturus fleet. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Admiral Venna's scales shifted to alarm red. "Report," she barked as her ship's artificial gravity fluctuated. "Unknown energy signature," her science officer responded, mandibles clicking frantically. "They're generating some kind of quantum matrix around our fleet. The geometry, it's impossible. They're manipulating 11-dimensional space." Venna watched in astonishment as a sphere of distorted space-time formed around her fleet. Inside the sphere, the laws of physics began to operate differently. Light bent in strange ways, time moved at varying speeds across small distances, and quantum states that should have been impossible suddenly became stable. "This is beyond Class 3 technology," Rix whispered. "We didn't think this kind of quantum manipulation was possible without causing catastrophic dimensional collapse." A transmission reached them, audio only. "What you're experiencing is a controlled demonstration of our quantum geometry network. We could use it to trap your fleet in a pocket of altered spacetime indefinitely. We choose not to." As quickly as it had formed, the quantum sphere dissipated. The fleet's systems returned to normal. But the message had been delivered. Humanity wasn't just technologically advanced. They had mastered principles the Empire hadn't even discovered. "Open a channel," Venna ordered, her scales now shifting between diplomatic green and cautious amber, "to all Earth command structures." The view screen activated, showing Sarah Chen and the Defense Council. Venna noted how the humans had arranged themselves, not in a hierarchy, but in a circle. Even their leadership structure defied imperial expectations. "I am Admiral Venna Corax of the Arcturus Empire," she began. "Your demonstration was illuminating. We had assumed your species would follow standard developmental patterns. We were wrong." Sarah smiled. "The universe is too vast for standard patterns, Admiral. Humanity learned long ago that the path to advancement isn't linear. While your empire was perfecting known technologies, we were exploring theoretical possibilities your scientists might have dismissed as impossible." "How?" Rix demanded. "How did you develop quantum geometry without first mastering basic fifth-dimensional physics?" "Because we didn't know we couldn't," Sarah replied simply. Different research teams around the world pursued different approaches simultaneously. Some failed. Some succeeded in unexpected ways. When you have 8 billion minds working on problems from different angles, conventional wisdom becomes just another hypothesis to test. Venna's scales shifted to deep thought purple. You're telling me that your species' greatest strength is its inability to agree on a single approach. Precisely. Sarah's expression grew serious. The Titan array is just one example. We have other technologies you haven't detected yet. Some might seem primitive to you. Others would challenge your understanding of physics. All of them are ready to be deployed if necessary. Or shared, Venna offered, surprising herself with the suggestion. Your species has clearly discovered principles we haven't considered. Perhaps there's an opportunity here for mutual advancement. The humans exchanged glances around their circular table. Sarah nodded slowly. That would be our preferred outcome, Admiral. But understand this. Humanity enters any relationship as equals, not subjects. If your empire can accept that, we have much to offer each other. As Venna considered her response, she realized the Empire's standard protocols for incorporating new worlds were useless here. Humanity had just demonstrated that they could match, and in some ways exceed, Imperial technology. More importantly, they had shown remarkable restraint in how they revealed their capabilities. The Empire will need time to process these developments, Venna said carefully. But speaking for myself, I believe we would be fools to treat Earth as anything but equals. The meeting concluded with an agreement to begin formal diplomatic talks, but Venna knew the real work was just beginning. She had to convince the Imperial Council that everything they thought they knew about technological progression and species development needed to be reevaluated. As the humans' holographic images faded, she turned to Rix. Send word to the Council. Tell them. She paused, her scales rippling with an emotion she couldn't quite name. Tell them we've discovered something unprecedented, a species that turned chaos into progress and disagreement into strength. Diplomatic dance. The Imperial Council's holographic avatars loomed over the Eternal Dawn's conference chamber, their crystalline forms radiating disapproval. High Counselor Zexel's voice crackled with barely contained fury. You suggest we treat these upstarts as equals. They've barely achieved interplanetary travel. Admiral Venna stood firm, her scales maintaining a steady diplomatic green despite her inner turmoil. Counselors, I urge you to look beyond traditional metrics. The humans' development may seem chaotic, but their achievements are undeniable. The chamber's displays lit up with data streams from Earth, research papers, technological breakthroughs, theoretical physics models, all flowing in real time as humanity continued its relentless advance. What caught the Council's attention wasn't the content, but the contradictions. They're researching antimatter propulsion alongside chemical rockets, Counselor Mira noted, her crystalline form shimmering with confusion. Developing quantum computing while still using silicon processors. It makes no sense. That's precisely what makes them dangerous, another counselor warned. They're unpredictable. On Earth, in a repurposed UN complex now serving as the Interspecies Diplomatic Center, Dr. Sarah Chen was facing her own challenges. Representatives from every nation crowded the chamber, each demanding a voice in the negotiations. We cannot reveal the Prometheus project, the Russian delegate insisted. It's too valuable as a tactical advantage. But sharing it might demonstrate our value as allies, the Indian representative countered. The Arcturans clearly respect technological innovation. Sarah raised her hand for silence. We're missing the larger picture. The Empire doesn't just want our technology. They want to understand how we developed it. That's our real leverage. She activated the central display, showing a visualization of human technological development. Unlike the Empire's neat, linear progression, humanity's advancement looked like a web. Countless paths intersecting, diverging. Some failing, others succeeding in unexpected ways. We don't just have different technologies, Sarah explained. We have a different way of thinking about technology itself. That's what frightens them and intrigues them. Back on the Eternal Dawn, Venna was making a similar point to the Council. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't their quantum geometry or their hidden arrays. It's their ability to pursue multiple solutions simultaneously, to fail fast and adapt faster. She brought up footage from Earth's cities, showing the vibrant chaos of human civilization. They turned their greatest weakness, their disunity, into an unprecedented strength. Different nations, cultures, and approaches all competing and collaborating simultaneously. And you believe this makes them worthy of equal status? Zextal's tone dripped with skepticism. I believe it makes them inevitable, Venna replied. They will advance with or without our help. The only question is whether we want them as allies or opponents. The council chamber fell silent. For 10,000 years, the Empire had expanded through a simple pattern. Find developing worlds, guide their advancement along approved paths, and incorporate them into the imperial structure. Earth didn't fit the pattern. Earth shattered it. Meanwhile, Sarah was orchestrating a diplomatic masterpiece. As the Arcturus Empire debated internally, she arranged a series of technological demonstrations, each carefully chosen to showcase not just human capabilities, but human potential. Indian quantum computers working alongside Japanese AI systems, Russian space-time manipulation technology complementing Chinese antimatter containment fields. Brazilian bionic interfaces melded with European neural networks. Each demonstration proved that humanity's strength lay not in any single breakthrough, but in their ability to combine technologies in ways the Empire had never imagined. We're not asking to join your empire, Sarah told Venna during a private communication. We're offering to help transform it. The Admiral's scales shifted to deep-thought purple as she considered the implications. You believe your approach to development could benefit the entire galaxy. We know it could, Sarah replied. Imagine imperial efficiency combined with human innovation. Your unity of purpose merged with our diversity of approach. We could accomplish things neither of our civilizations could achieve alone. As the diplomatic discussions continued, something unprecedented began to happen. Junior Imperial officers started requesting assignments to Earth observation posts. Imperial scientists began proposing joint research projects. The Empire's rigid hierarchy was showing the first signs of flexibility in 10,000 years. Venna noticed another change too. Her own people, the Arcturans, were beginning to question their assumptions about proper technological development. If humans could achieve such remarkable results through their chaotic approach, what other possibilities had the Empire overlooked in its pursuit of order? The Admiral recorded a final message to the Council. We stand at a crossroads. We can try to force humanity to conform to our patterns, and likely fail, or we can embrace this opportunity to evolve. Earth doesn't need our guidance, but perhaps we need theirs. Battle of Minds. The attack came without warning. A cascade of quantum intrusions hit both Earth and Arcturan systems simultaneously. Empire communication networks crashed. Earth's defense grids flickered. In orbit, ships from both civilizations suddenly found their navigation systems compromised. The Nexus Collective, Venna's scales flashed alarm red as she recognized the signature of their ancient rivals. They must have been watching our negotiations. In the Earth Defense Center, Sarah Chen stared at streams of corrupted data flooding their screens. The Nexus Collective, a civilization of digital beings that had split from the Empire millennia ago, saw the emerging Earth-Arcturan alliance as a threat to their own expansion plans. They're trying to access everything, a technician reported. Military systems, power grids, orbital platforms. Let them, Sarah interrupted, a slight smile playing at her lips. Venna, watching via emergency quantum link, felt her scales shift to confusion purple. Dr. Chen, you don't understand. The collective can process information faster than organic minds. They'll find exactly what we want them to find. Sarah finished. She opened a secure channel to hundreds of cyber defense centers around the world. Initialize Protocol Labyrinth. What the collective encountered in Earth's networks defied their computational models. Instead of the organized, hierarchical systems they expected, they found a maze of contradicting architectures. Ancient COBOL programs ran alongside quantum algorithms. Analog systems intercepted digital signals. AI networks evolved in real time, using patterns that violated standard programming logic. "It's beautiful," Dr. Raj Patel, India's cyber defense chief, observed as he watched the collective's confusion. "They're trying to impose order on our systems, but our chaos is our defense." In Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka's team deployed their experimental AI swarms, programs designed to think illogically, to make connections no digital being would consider rational. In Moscow, quantum computers deliberately introduced uncertainties into their own calculations, creating patterns the collective couldn't predict. "Your networks," Venna observed with growing amazement. "They're not just random. They're deliberately incongruent. We learned long ago that perfect order is perfectly predictable," Sarah explained. "Different nations developed different cybersecurity approaches. When we combined them, we created something no single logic could comprehend." The collective's attack faltered as it encountered system after system that defied its understanding. Brazilian virus programs that multiplied when quarantined. European quantum firewalls that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Chinese AI that used human emotion algorithms to make tactical decisions. "The Empire's strength has always been its unity," she said finally. "Perhaps it's time to learn the strength of diversity. Do it." What followed was unprecedented in galactic history. Imperial ships integrated with Earth's chaotic defense networks. Arcturan quantum computers learned to process human intuition algorithms. The rigid perfection of imperial code merged with the creative disorder of human programming. The collective, faced with this hybrid defense, began to falter. Their attacks, based on predicting and exploiting logical patterns, found no purchase in systems that deliberately defied logic. Impossible. Their digital consciousness echoed across the compromised networks. "Your systems violate fundamental information theory. That's humanity for you," Sarah replied through the quantum link. "We've made a habit of violating fundamental theories." As the collective's attack disintegrated, Venna watched her fleet's systems adapt and evolve. Human chaos and imperial order weren't just coexisting. They were synthesizing into something entirely new. "The Council will want an explanation," Rix noted as their ship's computers stabilized with new hybrid protocols. "Tell them we've discovered something more valuable than order," Venna replied, her scales settling into a new color pattern, one that reflected both imperial dignity and human adaptability. "We've discovered sustainable chaos. The new paradigm." 1 year after the collective's failed attack, the Sol system had become unrecognizable. Arcturan crystalline architectures merged with human space stations in elegant chaos. Imperial ships maneuvered alongside Earth vessels, each incorporating technologies from both civilizations. But the most profound changes weren't physical. They were philosophical. The Imperial Council chamber, for the first time in its 10,000-year history, had been redesigned. The traditional hierarchical arrangement had been replaced by a circular configuration inspired by Earth's diplomatic chambers. High Counselor Zextal's crystalline form glowed with an unusual iridescence as he addressed the gathered representatives of both civilizations. "For millennia, we believed advancement could only follow a single path," he began. "Earth has proven that diversity breeds innovation. The question before us now is, how do we proceed?" Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by holographic displays showing the fruits of human Arcturan collaboration. "We've prepared a demonstration," she announced. The displays shifted to show a new type of vessel hovering above Earth's orbit. The ship defied traditional design principles. Part crystalline imperial architecture, part human inspiration. Its hull rippled with quantum geometries while maintaining classical physical structures. "The synthesis," Sarah explained. "The first ship designed and built simultaneously by human and Arcturan engineers. It incorporates technologies that shouldn't work together, yet it achieves performance neither of our civilizations could have reached alone." Admiral Venna, her scales now permanently shifted to a new pattern that reflected her hybrid command, added, its computer systems run on both logic and intuition. Its quantum drives operate on principles that violate our previous understanding of physics. It's neither human nor imperial. It's something new. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members argued for caution. Others pressed for immediate expansion of the collaboration program. The debate itself represented a transformation. Imperial councils had never permitted open disagreement before. "You've changed us," Rix observed quietly to Sarah. The Empire was stagnating under the weight of its own certainty. "Human chaos has awakened something we'd forgotten." "And you've changed us," Sarah replied. "Humanity's greatest weakness was always our tendency to work against each other. Imperial unity has taught us the value of coordination, even in our chaos." The displays shifted again, showing new joint research projects across Earth and Imperial space. Quantum laboratories where human intuition guided Imperial precision. Shipyards where contradictory technologies merged into revolutionary designs. Educational exchanges where young Arcturans learned to embrace uncertainty, while human students discovered the power of unified purpose. The collective's attack failed. Venna addressed the council, because they couldn't comprehend a system that embraced both order and chaos. "That's our new strength. Not just tolerance of differences, but active synthesis of opposing approaches." Zextal's crystalline form pulsed with thoughtful light. For 10,000 years, the Empire expanded by imposing unity. Perhaps the next 10,000 years will be defined by how well we nurture diversity. The Council's final vote was unprecedented, not in its outcome, but in its process. Instead of seeking consensus, they acknowledged and incorporated dissenting views. The resolution that passed established a new framework for galactic civilization, the Synthesis Accord. Under its terms, Earth would not join the Empire. Instead, both civilizations would evolve into something new. The Accord recognized the value of maintaining distinct approaches while actively seeking ways to combine them. It established principles for technological exchange that preserved diversity while promoting collaboration. As the chamber emptied, Sarah found herself standing with Venna at a viewport overlooking Earth. The planet below was dotted with crystalline structures, while Imperial space stations now bore the marks of human modification. "Do you know what the collective's final message was before we repelled them?" Sarah asked. "They said we violated fundamental theories." They were right. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy, the reminder that fundamental theories are made to be violated. Venna's scales rippled with amusement, and the Empire's gift to humanity. "The understanding that even chaos needs direction," Sarah replied. "Look at us now. Purposeful disorder, coordinated innovation, unified diversity. We've created something neither of us imagined possible." The synthesis prototype ship passed before them, its impossible design a testament to what could be achieved when order and chaos danced together. In its wake followed a fleet of vessels, each unique, each combining technologies and principles in new ways. "The galaxy won't know what hit it," Venna mused, her scales showing a pattern that would have been impossible for an Arcturan to display a year ago. "No," Sarah agreed with a smile, "but it will certainly be interesting finding out." Above them, the stars beckoned with new possibility. Humanity had proven that chaos could be a strength. The Empire had shown that unity didn't require uniformity. Together, they had forged a path that would reshape galactic civilization, not through conquest or submission, but through the powerful combination of human creativity and imperial purpose. The age of singular advancement was over. The era of synthesis had begun.